Every disaster starts on a Sunday afternoon. This one started with 5 cichlids, 1 tank, and the kind of optimism that should honestly be illegal to sell at a pet store. For 11 minutes, there was peace. 11 minutes. I want you to sit with that number. 11 minutes is less than a coffee break, less than the time it takes to explain why you spent $400 on a glass box and called it a relaxing hobby. 11 minutes of diplomacy. And then it all collapsed like a government on a Friday afternoon. Now, before we go any further, we need to talk about the cast, because 90% of fish videos make the same catastrophic mistake. They show you the chaos without introducing the people causing it, and chaos without characters is just noise. Interesting for 4 seconds, then you're gone. You're not going anywhere. Watch closely. First, the politician. Bright, energetic, swimming up to everyone like he just discovered networking and decided to commit to it as a full personality. Making the rounds, eye contact, handshakes, touring the tank like he's running for office in a constituency of 5. If you'd walked past that tank in the first 11 minutes, you'd have pointed at him and said, "Oh, that one seems friendly." He wasn't friendly. He was building a dossier on everyone in the room. The handshakes were interrogations. The eye contact was assessment. Sound familiar? Yeah, thought so. The enforcer was different, bigger than the others, moving slower than you'd expect. Not rushing, not exploring, just drifting to the center of the tank like he already owned the place and was simply waiting for everyone else to figure that out. He didn't need to chase anyone on day one, didn't need to bite. He just had to exist there at a certain size and let everyone else do the math. He was the math, or at least that's what it felt like. And then there was the opportunist. Fast, twitchy, never still. Watching the enforcer, watching the politician, running calculations nobody asked for. He looked like he was panicking. He wasn't. He was shopping. The ghost, you could miss him. Most people did. Tucked into the back corner within 3 minutes of hitting the water. Not hiding exactly. Just absent. Deliberately, strategically, almost artistically absent. While everyone else was introducing themselves and establishing presence, and generally making sure they were noticed, the ghost was doing something far more sophisticated. He was making sure he wasn't. That's not an accident. In stable hierarchies, visibility is risk. The ghost understood that before anyone else had even chosen a wall. And finally, number 5, mid-sized, mid-colored, not aggressive enough to be a threat, not passive either. Just there, watching everything with the expression of someone who has a plan and is absolutely not going to tell you what it is yet. At the time, I thought he was the boring one. I was completely wrong. 11 minutes of peace. And then the enforcer moved. That was the moment everything became irreversible. And I want you to remember that word, irreversible, because nothing that happened after that moment could be undone. Not by me, not by the rocks, not by any amount of restructuring at 11 o'clock on a work night. Once it started, it finished on its own terms. Nobody tells you this about cichlid hierarchy. Not the pet store, not the forums, not the 47-page Reddit thread from 2009 that somehow made everything worse. It doesn't announce itself. No speech, no vote, no dramatic confrontation. One moment there are 5 cichlids sharing a space, and then without any visible transition, there are 5 cichlids operating inside a system of rules that nobody wrote down, but everybody understood completely. Like an office. Exactly like an office. But wetter. The enforcer claimed the left side of the tank sometime during the night. I know this not because I watched it happen. I know this because by Monday morning, nobody was going near the left side of the tank. The territory wasn't declared. It was just respected. Suddenly and completely, and without a single word exchanged. The politician had already adjusted, moved his operation to the middle zone, still making rounds, still doing the handshakes. But the rounds had shrunk. He was working a smaller room now, and pretending very hard not to notice. Being liked kept him safe, until it didn't. The opportunist had done something genuinely impressive that I almost missed. He had attached himself to the enforcer's orbit, not challenging him, not avoiding him, just nearby. Close enough to benefit from the territorial claim, far enough to never register as a threat, borrowing power without ever reaching for it. I've seen humans do this. You've seen humans do this. We're not going to talk about it. The ghost had not moved, still in his corner. But here's what I noticed on Monday that I hadn't caught on Sunday. He was eating, while nobody else was. which I didn't even notice at first, while everyone else was managing politics and positioning and the exhausting business of figuring out where they stood. The ghost was finding the food first, not fighting for it, just appearing at the surface, eating with quiet efficiency, and disappearing again before anyone thought to look. Nobody was watching him, and he was using that completely. Now, number 5. This is where it gets uncomfortable. On Monday, number 5 challenged the enforcer, not successfully, not even close. The enforcer turned on him within seconds, 4 meters of chase, one very clear message delivered. Then number 5 found a corner and sat there for 20 minutes. And then he did it again, an hour later. Same result. And again that evening. At the time, it looked like the dumbest thing I'd ever seen a cichlid do. Like watching someone walk into the same wall 3 times and seem surprised each time. I genuinely felt secondhand embarrassment. For a fish. Later, it looked like something else entirely. I didn't have a word for it until Tuesday, and that bothered me more than it should have. That answer is coming, and you're not going to like it. By Monday evening, something had shifted. The tank was quieter, but not peaceful quiet. The kind of quiet that means all the decisions have already been made and everyone is just living inside them now. The politician was the first to show the damage. And this is the part that gets me every time, because nobody touched him. Nothing you could point to and say, that's the incident, that's the cause. But by Monday evening, his colors had faded, just slightly. He was moving less. The rounds had stopped. He hadn't been attacked. He'd been managed. Through 100 tiny interactions that each meant nothing on their own, but together delivered one message with absolute clarity. You are not in charge here. You were never in charge here. The politician understood, and the understanding cost him something you could see. I need to stop here. You didn't think about a fish just now. You thought about a person, and you know exactly who. You've known since the politicians section, someone specific, someone whose name you could type right now, someone whose colors you watched fade in a room you were both in, and neither of you talked about it. The hierarchy isn't unique to the tank. You already knew that. You just didn't say it out loud. The tank just has glass walls. Drop a comment. Has this happened to you? Not in a tank, in a room, in an office, at a table. I read every single one. By Tuesday morning, 3 fish were still active. The enforcer, the opportunist still in orbit, and number 5, battered, slightly faded, moving a little slower than Sunday, but present, stubbornly, inexplicably, irritatingly present. The politician had found a corner, not the ghost corner, the unclaimed one. The corner that was available precisely because nobody had wanted it. That's where you end up when every corner that meant something is no longer available to you. You find the one that's left. You eat, you breathe, you technically survive, but you stop participating. Quietly, completely, and the ghost, same corner, same shadow, since Sunday. But his colors were perfect, vivid, bright, completely intact. While the politician had faded and number 5 was visibly wearing the cost of his campaign, and the opportunist was burning energy maintaining proximity to power. The ghost looked like he'd just arrived, fresh, unbothered, like someone who slept perfectly while everyone else was up all night solving problems that were never going to get solved. Invisible doesn't get attacked. The ghost knew this from minute 1. Go back to your comment. Most of you said the enforcer. Some said number 5, which means you were already paying attention to the right fish for the wrong reasons. A few said the ghost, which means either you've done this before or you've spent a lot of time thinking about invisibility as a survival strategy. Both are interesting. Neither surprises me. Here's what actually happened. The enforcer is still dominant, still running the left side of the tank with the calm authority of someone who never had to raise his voice because he never had to. Winning costs something. Dominance has a maintenance fee that gets paid every single day, whether you're thinking about it or not. The opportunist is still there, still in orbit. He never reached for power. He found something more sustainable, proximity to it. Managed correctly, proximity is almost as good as power, with significantly less overhead. The ghost is exactly where he's been since Sunday. Vivid, fed, unbothered, running the most efficient survival operation in the tank from a corner nobody wanted. He didn't win. He opted out of the game entirely and survived anyway, which is either inspiring or deeply unsettling depending on what you did last week. And number 5, This is where I was completely wrong. He wasn't trying to win. He was never trying to win. Every challenge he lost against the enforcer made him more familiar, more known, less surprising, less threatening. He was training the system to stop seeing him as a problem. Not power, not territory, just the right to exist in the tank without being treated as an emergency. He wasn't trying to win. He was trying to stay. And he did. 4 fish, 4 different ways to survive, and every single one of them worked. This was never about cichlids. You knew that from minute 1. You just didn't say it out loud. 5 fish, 1 tank, 48 hours. And it got ugly in ways that were not always visible. The enforcer still dominant. Number 5 still present. The opportunist still borrowing power he never reached for. The politician somewhere in the back, technically fine, quietly gone from the conversation. And the ghost, vivid, unbothered, completely, efficiently, peacefully fine. No speech, no vote, no announcement. The rules just formed, and everyone found their place inside them whether they chose to or not. So which fish are you? And don't say the ghost. Everyone says the ghost. The ghost is the answer people give when they want to seem like they've figured something out. Be honest. The comment section is watching, which means the comment section is also a tank, which means this never really ended. If this video made you think about something outside the tank, hit the like button. The more people find this tank, the more interesting the comment section gets. Here at Dark Cichlids, this is what we do. We look at the glass, we look at what's inside, and we ask uncomfortable questions about what it's telling us about what's outside. Subscribe if you want to keep looking. Until next time, keep your water clean, keep your rocks secure, and if you have to choose, don't be the politician. He didn't lose, he just stopped being visible, and nobody noticed when it happened. So there you have it, 5 fish, 1 tank, and a Tuesday that nobody walked away from clean. If you're staring at your tank right now doing a quiet head count, you already know something about this. You've always known it. You just didn't have the language for it until now. That fish in the corner that nobody bothers, that's not luck. That's a strategy. One so clean it only becomes visible after everything else falls apart. And the fish in the middle, the one making all the noise, the one everyone watches without thinking too much about it, he's paying a cost you can't see, a constant one, every single day. We don't keep these fish because they're relaxing. If you wanted relaxing, you'd look at a wall. We keep them because they're honest, in a way that's uncomfortable, sometimes even brutal, about hierarchy, about pressure, about who actually holds the room, and sometimes about us. If this video made you think about something that wasn't really about fish, that's the point. The fish are just the surface. Drop a comment below. Which fish are you? And be honest with yourself here. Not the version you like to imagine. The one you actually are when you walk into a room and someone else is already standing where you want to stand. Here at Dark Cichlids, this isn't just a channel. It's a way of looking at things. A place where the tank is never just a tank for long, and it's growing every day. People from all over the world coming here and realizing they've been watching the wrong thing this whole time. It was never really about the fish, so don't just leave it here. Keep going. Watch the next video. See what else you notice when you stop looking at the obvious part first. Until next time, keep your water clean, keep your rocks stable, and whatever you do, figure out which fish you are before someone else decides for you. Stay dark.